I fell in love with the Hyundai brand in the year 1999 when they showcased and launched the Hyundai Santro in India. Then came the Hyundai Accent, which was bold and beautiful, and we had a Hyundai Accent Viva in our family, which was a fantastic car. Then I got myself a Hyundai i20, which again was beautiful, and then we had an i20 and a Hyundai Venue in the family. Hello everyone, my name is Ishaan and welcome to the Race Monkey. And we are here in Goa to talk about Hyundai's latest baby. This is the all-new Hyundai Venue, a car which is going to push sales numbers in heaps for Hyundai India because it's just so desirable. It was desirable before, but they've just upped the game in terms of packaging, design, and it has a whole lot going on the inside. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Let me tell you, why does this Hyundai Venue could be the best car of the year?
Now, the need for a compact SUV arises because of the bad road conditions across the country. Perhaps not in Goa where we are shooting this, but all across the country, 80% of the roads are filled with potholes and large boulders. A car like this Hyundai Venue solves a huge purpose for the Indian consumers, and henceforth, the sales figures of hatchbacks are suffering. And Hyundai has made sure that when it supplies this car to the public, it gives it in its best shape and form.
So let's start off with the key of the new Venue. This is a Hyundai logo in which the key has been integrated. You get a lock, unlock button, a hold to start button, which if you hold for 5 seconds, the engine will start off. You get a boot release button over here as well. So, and the quality of the key is actually pretty nice. This is such a thoughtful design to start off with. It's very, very impressive indeed. Now, whilst you come to the front of the car, you are greeted by these C-shaped DRLs over here with headlights integrated over here. This is the top of the line model which gets LED headlamps. You get indicators over here, connecting DRLs over here which are embedded into this plexiglass cover. On top you get this nice dark chrome grille in the front which is big enough to let in all the air for the intercooler and the radiator to function properly. A big Hyundai logo, muscle lines that cut through the air, and if you're a driver, you would see that this line would intersect with the edge of the road. The design is always very nice. The last time I saw this was on a Land Cruiser 300, which I recently drove. Now you get front camera over here, front parking sensors, ADAS radar over here, and you get a ADAS camera over there as well, because this has ADAS level 2 suite, which we're going to talk about later on in this video. Now, besides the headlamp, you see these vents over here. These might look fake, but they actually are functional. I'm not finding a stick, but if the wind goes from here, it comes out from here and it cools down the brakes pretty considerably. Talking about the brakes, they're pretty good. We've driven this car from our hotel till Verna Industrial Area, which is a distance of about 43 kilometers. And they had quite a good bite, especially with a lighter weight. The brakes have been calibrated in a very good way. You get 16-inch alloy wheels fitted to 215/60 R16 Seat Secured Drive tires. Now, manufacturers are reducing themselves to using Indian manufactured tires because of the policy that has been pushed by ATMA, which is Automotive Tires Manufacturer Association, that you have to use Indian manufactured tires for cars manufactured in India. Henceforth, Seat Secure Drive. Not that these tires are bad, they run really well for about 50-55,000 kilometers if you're brave enough, and they have considerably good amount of grip on the road as well. You get side sensors as well for ADAS and detecting any obstruction that's coming on this side, especially for brake and parking assist. You get a side camera on the rear view mirror as well. This rear view mirror is coming out quite a bit. It's a pretty large rear view mirror, which also provides quite a lot of visibility to the rear. Nice chunky door handle over here, which opens up with a strong thud. You get plastic cladding over here, which is good to go a bit off the route. And you have this muscle line over here, this wheel arches which come out quite a bit, giving you that muscular feel and making you feel that you have bought a car which has quite a lot of character. While coming to the back, you have this muscular bulge in the rear wheel arch as well, which starts off from the middle of the rear door. And cohesively, this makes the car look a bit wider, which is a great thing, honestly speaking. You get these plastic claddings over here as well. If you open up the door and you hit something on the side of the curb, this will help you reduce the damage to the paintwork. Now, what is new in the venue in this generation is that you get a quarter glass at the back, which increases the ingress of light on the inside. And you also have this plaque over here which says venue at the back, which is available in all the variants. Now, once you come to the back of this car, you are reminded of the Range Rover Evoque, because this tail light design is pretty much similar to that car, which is not a bad thing. But what Hyundai has done, it has integrated this venue binnacle over here inside the plexiglass, and it looks very high quality. You get these 3D LED lamps at the back, reflectors over here, and weirdly, you also have your reversing lamps over here, which might be damaged over the period of time, considering how Indians drive and if this car is going anywhere off the road. You have a reverse parking camera over here, wipers in the top end model, and this big Hyundai logo over here. You also have a spoiler which minimizes the sun while it's directly on top of you, also aids a bit of aerodynamics, and you have a stop lamp over here as well. Besides that, there is a shark fin antenna over there, and it is quite a handsome looking car from every angle. And just look at the bulges on the side. It does look wide and intimidating, even though it's just 4 meters long.
Now, it is evident that Hyundai loves spoiling its customers, and it has done a similar job on the inside of the new venue as well. Let's find out what all has changed.
So let's start talking about the interiors of the new venue. And the first thing that greets you is this steering wheel, which doesn't have a Hyundai logo anymore. That's a 4-dot Morse code which depicts the letter H, which is pretty smart, to be honest. And the way this steering wheel has been designed is pretty ergonomic as well. First of all, the thickness of the steering is pretty good. Even with my small hands, I'm able to grip it really well. You have very soft thumb grips. The stitching over here is really very nice, and we have these physical buttons over here. Over here you have your buttons for cruise control, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control, and your menu scrolling buttons. Over here you have buttons for your audio control, your mobile control, and your voice command as well. And the general quality of these buttons is pretty high, and so is the quality of the stocks at the back. These feel very high quality. You've got a nice gloss cap over here, nice matte finish over here, and even on the stocks over here it's very nicely finished. Now, the second thing that gets your attention are these 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which essentially is a curved display, and it is not two screens combined into one. And the way it has been integrated is really very nice. In this, now you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you get inbuilt Hyundai maps as well for navigation, which works seamlessly. We did not connect our Apple CarPlay for maps to come till here to drive about 43 kilometers. You were getting live traffic updates, proper shortest route suggestions on this map, and it works better somehow than Google Maps, which is kind of a confusing thing. Which is a win-win situation because most of the times there's no mobile network and you want maps which are integrated into the system. So Hyundai Maps work really well. You also have quite a lot of functions where you can get weather updates. You have your phone projection, which again is your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you also have your online manual to understand each and every function. If you're an elderly person who doesn't understand technology much, that can be a great addition to you. Now you also have vehicle diagnostics over here, which essentially sends data to the service center and sends you all the updates on your phone app or in your car as to what components need changing over the next service schedule, which is great and something which has been integrated for the first time in a car of this size. So kudos to Hyundai to do that. And this system is powered by the NVIDIA processor, which is making it quite a quick reacting touchscreen infotainment system, and it just works seamlessly, and the options and controls are very, very easy to use and within the reach of the driver. Over here you have the terrazzo style applique on the dashboard, which looks very, very nice. You have venue engraved into it. You also have this grey rose goldish binnacle around the AC vents over here and over here as well. You also have nice physical buttons for the air conditioning control and the media controls, which is a boon in today's time. Remember, Euro NCAP has now made it mandatory for cars to have physical buttons to get proper safety scores in their crash test assessment. And here, Hyundai has made sure that it doesn't go the touch screen or touchpad way. Makes it really easy to drive over longer distances because each and every control has large buttons to control all these functions. Now you have your temperature settings over here, your fan control over here, you have your volume control over here, and your tune control over here as well, with map, search, home, all these buttons integrated really very well. Below that you have a wireless charging pad which can accommodate a large Samsung phone as well. Over here you have USB-C port for fast charging, you have a USB-C port for fast charging as well as fast charging and USB, plus you have a 180 watt 12 volt socket to attach your accessories, especially if you have a vacuum cleaner or other things. Now this is a very interesting space because the way it has been designed makes it very cohesive to keep things and function around with the options over here. Now to start off with, you have this gear lever over here which is very ergonomic to use and just comes very well with the thumb's grip. You have seat ventilation for both the passenger and the driver in the front. You have this button over here which activates 360-degree camera, which is really high resolution, and I really appreciate Hyundai to be installing that. You have your parking off and on button. You have your drive control buttons over here. If you go to sport mode, you get this graphic over here. You also get eco mode, normal mode, and if you go to traction, you have snow, mud, sand, etc. So we generally drive on eco. Now over here you have two cup holders which have this nice engraved pop-up where you can put in your soda cups and they might not move around much, and you have a space to keep your mobile phone steady while you're driving fast or you're braking too much. So that is a very nicely integrated space. Now this line that you see around is for ambient light, which looks beautiful at night. You also have ambient light over here, and you have these nice soft ambient lights which don't really get into your eyes. You also have this nice dimpled dashboard which does not reflect light on the windshield, which is a great addition, and the overall design of the dashboard is pretty top notch. Now, talking more about the storage, you have this place to keep your wallet, your mobile phone for the passenger. You have a large glove box which can accommodate 3 or 4 bottles of 500 ml each, and it also has a cooling function over there. You have space in the door cards over here to keep a 1 liter bottle, space over here as well, and you have some space over here to keep your wallet. Now, these armrests have a pretty squishy leatherette material. This is also a very soft plastic material on the door card with ivory color buttons and binnacles everywhere. These look really high quality for a car at this price. Start stop button over there, and you have these ultra luxurious and thick seats, which I'm a huge fan of ever since I saw them for the first time. You get a venue lettering over here. The way it has been stitched, it really reminds you of a first class flight seat. Nice bolstering both for the thighs and for your back. You have this extended back support, which is a boon for people who are 6 feet tall, and the headrests are also pretty wide. Now, most of the people would complain about, hey, this car does not have a big sunroof, but I think that's a boon. This size of a sunroof is good enough to have good ingress of sunlight into the cabin. A large panoramic sunroof in the Indian context is only going to make your roof hot, especially during summer days when the temperatures plummet up to 45 degrees Celsius. And it's not large enough to poke your kids out, so it's pretty amazing. You also have vanity mirror over here, and you get your usual blue link buttons on the rear view mirror. Besides that, you get large rear view mirrors on the outside, which give you a great field of view, and you have a dead pedal over here as well, which is a little far apart from the brake, making sure that your feet don't collide with each other while you're driving at high speeds, which is great because most of the manufacturers are not thinking about those tiny details. Now, one thing I have a gripe about is that this steering has a rake adjustment but no reach adjustment. So that is a bit of a flaw. Here in the back seat of the all-new Venue, things have improved significantly. Now, I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, and the front seat has been adjusted as per my seating preference. I've got tons of knee room. The front seats have had this scooped out rear to increase my knee room as well. Now, I'm not the widest person in my industry, but I've got good amount of shoulder room to move around as well. These nice padded cushioned armrest on the door cards. You've got this armrest over here with 2 cup holders, and this ivory and dark blue shade interior looks and feels very premium. This leatherette quality is absolutely top notch. Now, if I'm sitting upright, I have a considerably good amount of under thigh support as well. And more importantly, if you are going on a long trip with your friends and family, the rear seats also recline quite a bit to give you an extra bit of comfort. Now, because there is no panoramic sunroof that is covering the head, I've got a good amount of headroom as well, and a person who's 6 feet 5 inches tall could be accommodated without much fuss. Now, these headrests are also pretty wide, although they don't have those cushy pillows over here, but you can add them as you wish. You get these privacy curtains to cut off the sunlight from the outside while it's very hot during summer days, but I would have wished to have a curtain over here as well, and I'm just being nitpicky. But what I'm not nitpicky about is the absence of magazine pockets. How difficult is it to just stitch one right across? So that is one thing. You have these nice nifty air conditioning vents which feel very tactile to use, and they throw in quite a considerable amount of wind to the passengers. 2 USB Type-C charging ports over here, and a nice spot to keep your mobile phone as well. The rear seat experience is actually one of the best in this class, and it's pretty comfortable as well. How does it feel to drive is now what we're going to test.
Now, the 60 updates that Hyundai has done to the venue, it has also added a new powertrain combination, a diesel automatic for the people who drive a lot and want a peace of mind away from the E20 menace.
So this Hyundai Venue that we are driving is fitted with a 1.5 liter U2 CRDI diesel engine which produces 115 bhp of max power and 250 newton meters of max torque, which is the same as what you get in the Hyundai Creta as well, which is very popular, and this engine is extremely smooth. Now, because there is a use of 71% rigid tensile steel in this structure, the NVH has improved quite considerably. And whilst you're driving within the city, you barely hear the diesel hum filter into the cabin. Now, as a new addition, this diesel engine is fitted with a 6-speed automatic gearbox in the Venue, which was only discounted till the Creta up till now. Now, this engine and gearbox configuration with the shorter wheelbase and better dynamics because of shorter wheelbase has made sure that your driving is much more pleasurable. Whilst we are driving within the city or out on the open roads, it just feels really very good indeed. The suspension tuning has been done to accommodate that NVH upgrade as well, which is quite a brilliant thing at this price point. Otherwise, the steering setup feels the same. There is good amount of visibility from these large windows, especially this rear view mirror, which is massive. And the ride quality too has improved a little bit. Now, I would consider this over the likes of the Kia Sonet, strictly based on how it has been dynamically upgraded. Now, this is running on 16-inch alloy wheels with thicker profile tires over the N line, which gets a 17-inch alloy wheel and a much sharper and rigid ride quality. And it just works perfectly well. Now, as a lighter car with this 1.5 liter diesel engine, it sure should be much more fuel efficient, and that it is. In the last 50 kilometers of driving this car, we achieved a fuel economy of close to 16.5, 17 kilometers per liter within the city as well, which was pretty impressive. But then, that is how diesels usually function. Now, since there is no isobutanol doping into this diesel engine yet, this works perfectly fine and gives you the best thermal efficiency possible. Now, the driving dynamics and the experience, which Hyundai calls as HX, the Hyundai experience, has been enhanced all thanks to the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. The gearbox is so much in control. Like right now, we are going down the hill, one paddle down while cornering. I'm one gear down as well, and my RPMs are well within the limits, which is quite a brilliant thing. Also, the suspension setup, while I'm cornering hard, even when it's not an N line car, it is very well composed indeed, and it doesn't make you feel underconfident at any given point, which is actually brilliant. Which also makes me question a little bit about the Hyundai i20, that it has started to make less sense over this. With a few thousands or perhaps 1 or 1.5 lakh rupees extra, you're getting a better ground clearance, a better ride quality, more space, better premiumness. And the way this car just functions around bends is pretty enthusiastic as well, which is a win-win situation for a product like this.
Now, you have to give it to Hyundai for doing the market research very well. They understood their consumer base by the core and did all the modifications necessary to make life easier for the consumer who's using the car on a daily basis. And it is all in the finer details.
Now, as a small SUV slash crossover, 90 or 95% of the time, the people who buy cars like the Venue drive it within the city. And when you're driving within the city, you need something which is extremely comfortable, or at least comfortable, to say the least. Now, every time I've had a car which is more performance oriented with thin profile tires, great suspension, and steering setup for the dynamic ability, I have enjoyed them. But when it comes to daily driving, I need something which is supple, more sofa like, something which is quiet, something which keeps my nerves down when I'm stressed out, which I usually am most of the time. And when you just ticks all the boxes when it comes to the comfort quotient. Now, if I roll down the front two windows, as you can see, there is quite a lot of noise that's filtering in through. But once I roll these windows up, it's just absolutely quiet, which is pretty amazing. Now, Hyundai has also used a bigger compressor for the air conditioning system, which means that even when it's 35, 36 degrees Celsius, right, as it is right now, even when you keep your air conditioning at 22, 23, or even 24 degrees Celsius, the entire cabin remains in a very comfortable state. Now, that is also accelerated by the fact that the rear door has proper sun blinds, which cuts away most of the sunlight that's entering the cabin. In addition to that, there is a good amount of white, or let's say ivory interior, which reflects off the heat. These seats are very well insulated from the heat that might get attracted onto them with when the car is parked out in the sun. And in general sense, this cabin feels very nice indeed. Also, with this curved display, my accessibility to the screen is very good. I have my cup holder over here where I can enjoy my drinks. I can keep my phone over here. My phone otherwise is going to be there as well. The window line of the windshield is pretty low, so I can see the edges of the bonnet. And in general, it feels very ergonomic as well. So comfortable, ergonomic, and very insulating from the outside world. It's a win-win situation if you are wanting to get this car for urban use at large. But when you're out on the highway, it is no slouch. This diesel engine spools its turbocharger at as low as 1500 RPM, which makes it pretty quick at a dab of the accelerator. And with this paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, it's very easy to command the gearbox with your favorable gear at your favorable RPMs. I really am enjoying this car.
Now, besides being dynamic, the steering setup is also very good to maneuver around narrow lanes of villages and towns. The electronic power assist system does make sure that even when it is rough around the edges, you are in control all the time. But it also trumps when the going gets rough. We took the venue off the beaten path to understand the upgrades done to the approach and departure angles of the bumpers, and there is good news. This car has become even better off the beaten path. Now we put Himanta behind the steering wheel to understand the different traction modes, which also had a mud mode to tackle the bad or very rough patches around the villages and mountain passes. And to be honest, the venue drove with flying colors. The way it just took through the slushy, rocky trails, it was just an effortless experience. There was just no wheel spin, the traction control was capturing the surface very well, and the good amount of ground clearance made sure that the car did not hit the underbelly or any side of the bumper. Now, in the last half a decade, manufacturers have been raging a war against each other when it comes to autonomous driving aid system. And the venue gets everything calibrated as per Indian driving conditions.
So I would want to take the opportunity to talk about the ADAS function. So if you're running on cruise control, this has adaptive cruise control, and it would keep a safe distance from the car in the front based on how much you've set. If I'm setting, let's say, distance level 2, it'll keep a handsome amount of difference between the two vehicles, which is quite brilliant. It also has a stop and go function. So if the car is stopped fully, which we will experience in just a bit, it just makes sure that the distance between the two cars is not something that is bothersome or unsafe. Now, once the car starts moving, we're rolling back again. Now, it has detected that there is another car which might intrude into our lane. So it brakes, lets the car pass, and moves again. So we had come to a complete stop, and without accelerating physically, it accelerated itself based on the distance that is there between the car in the front and us. So that is pretty smart. The way this ADAS is functioning is very unintrusive, very intuitive indeed, and that is what I like about this particular machine. Now we're going to take a right turn, and we have our blind spot monitor switched on, and this car is not moving, so we'll physically accelerate and move ahead. Now it is detecting cars coming from the onward side. We had set the speed to 35, which is safe for this two-way traffic. Now, although these two-wheelers are not in my way directly, it still is making sure that the car does not come to an impact with any other. It says watch for surrounding for other vehicles. So it wants me to physically have a bit of vigilance to make sure that we are driving safe. Absolutely brilliant. I'm neither accelerating nor braking myself. This is perhaps one of the most intuitive and effortless ADAS systems that's available in the country right now, and that's just such a great thing. Because adaptive driving assist systems these days are not calibrated as per the Indian driving style or the needs of the Indian roads. And here Hyundai has done a very good job in engineering it seamlessly. Even as a layman, I would have found this very convenient to use through and through the city or the towns in our country. So, what's my final verdict about the Hyundai Venue, especially with this 1.5-liter diesel engine? It's structured really well. The way it has been packaged is extremely good, and it looks very desirable as well. Now, with the addition of that automatic gearbox mated to the diesel engine, it just makes for a very practical choice for people who drive a lot. And then the way it has been set up with its safety suite, especially that ADAS level 2, which is very unintrusive, it just makes for a win-win situation for a small car for daily use, and I love it. There aren't many cars which can compete against this in this segment, and although this is slightly more expensive than its competition, but it surely makes up for it in the way Hyundai has packaged it. In addition to that, Hyundai's reliability and after sales quality record is top notch. And you can take a word from me because I've been a Hyundai customer myself. So, This becomes one of the greatest small cars for 2025 and 2026 to be launched in India. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked our content. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our Instagram at The Race Monkey. Do remember to wear your seatbelts and your helmets whenever you're out on the road.